The warning alarm screamed through Haven Station like wounded animals. Dr. Sarah Chen ran down the corridor, her white medical coat flying behind her. Around her, people were screaming and crying. Children held on to their parents. The old and sick tried to move faster but could not. Sarah reached the command center and pushed through the door. The screen showed something terrible. Large ships surrounded the station. They were dark and covered in sharp edges like knives. These were Krythak warships. "I sent 20 messages," Station Director Marcus Webb said. His hands shook as he worked the controls. "They won't answer. They just keep coming closer." Sarah looked at the screens. Her stomach felt cold. Haven Station was home to 50,000 people. They came from many worlds. Some ran from wars. Others had lost their homes. Children went to school here. Doctors treated sick people. Families ate dinner together. This was supposed to be a safe place. "Fire!" someone shouted. The first blast hit the station shields. The lights flickered. People screamed louder. The floor shook under Sarah's feet. Another blast came. Then another. The shields were breaking. Marcus grabbed the radio. "This is Haven Station to any ships in range. We are under attack. We have no weapons. We are a civilian station. Please help us, please." His voice carried into the dark space around them, but space was very big. Help was very far away. The shields failed completely. The station shook harder now. Metal screamed as the hull broke in places. Air rushed out into space. Emergency doors slammed shut, cutting the station into pieces. Some people were trapped on the wrong side of the doors. "They're boarding us," a security officer said. He checked his weapon. Haven Station only had 12 security guards. They carried small guns meant to stop fights between drunk miners. They were not soldiers. The Krythak came through the hull like metal monsters. They were tall, covered in gray armor that looked like insect shells. Their faces had too many eyes. Their hands ended in claws. They carried weapons that glowed red. Security Officer Tom Rodriguez stood in front of the medical bay. Behind him were 30 sick people in beds. "You will not pass," he said. The Krythak leader made a sound like laughing. It shot Tom 3 times. Tom fell down and did not move. The Krythak walked past his body into the medical bay. The people inside started screaming. In the school section, teacher Maria Santos pushed 15 children into a storage room. "Be very quiet," she whispered. "Don't make any sound." She closed the door and stood in front of it. When the Krythak came, Maria stood tall even though she was shaking. "They are just children," she said. "The Krythak shot her too." They opened the storage room. The children screamed. Marcus Webb knew the station was lost. He ran to the communication room. His friends were dying. His station was dying. But maybe he could save someone else. Maybe he could make this mean something. He activated the emergency broadcast system. This system was very powerful. It could send messages across many star systems. Marcus set it to send everything. All the camera feeds. All the screams. All the death. "This is Haven Station," Marcus said into the recorder. His voice was steady even though tears ran down his face. "We are being destroyed by the Krythak Dominion. We are unarmed civilians. We asked for mercy. They gave us none. 50,000 people are dying here. Remember us. Remember what they did." He pressed send. The message shot out into space in all directions. It would reach hundreds of worlds. Millions of people would see what happened here. A Krythak broke through the door. Marcus smiled at it. "Too late," he said. "Everyone will know what you are." The Krythak raised its weapon. On the Krythak command ship, war leader Zrathok watched the station burn. His soldiers reported their success. So many humans killed, so many others taken as slaves. This would teach the weak species to fear the Krythak. "Send this recording to the nearby systems," Zrathok ordered. "Let them see what happens to those who are weak. Let them see that the Krythak take what they want." His communication officer sent the battle footage across the sector. It showed the Krythak ships destroying Haven Station. It showed Krythak soldiers killing humans. It showed the station breaking apart in space. Zrathok felt proud. The other weak species would see this. They would surrender without fighting. The Krythak Empire would grow bigger, all because these soft humans were so easy to kill. "Humans are such weak prey," Zrathok said to his officers. They made their laughing sounds. The message traveled through space at the speed of light. It crossed star systems. It passed planets and moons and asteroids. 7 days away, a human warship received the transmission. The communication officer watched it once. Then he called his captain. The captain watched it. Then she called her admiral. Admiral Catherine Zhao sat in her command chair on the EDF dreadnought Unbroken. She was 50 years old with gray in her black hair. Her face usually looked kind. She had smile lines around her eyes. She watched the Haven Station footage without moving. She saw Tom Rodriguez die protecting sick people. She saw Maria Santos die protecting children. She saw Marcus Webb's final message. She watched it 3 times. When she finished, her face was not kind anymore. Her eyes were like ice. Her hands gripped the arms of her chair so hard her knuckles turned white. "Get me the fleet," she said quietly. "All ships." Battle stations, her officers moved quickly. They had never heard the admiral sound like this. "Ma'am," her first officer said carefully. "Haven Station is 7 days away at maximum speed. By the time we arrive," "I know," Zhao said. "We will be too late to save them. But not too late for justice." She stood up and looked at her bridge crew. "They killed 50,000 civilians. They broadcast it as a warning to scare us. They think we are weak." Her voice got colder. "They are about to learn what happens when you make humans angry." The Unbroken's engines fired up. Around it, 6 more warships did the same. The 3rd battle group turned toward Haven Station and accelerated to maximum speed. Behind them, Earth received the same message. The government watched. The people watched. And humanity remembered. Admiral Catherine Zhao stood in her private quarters staring at a photo. The girl in the picture was 8 years old with black hair and pigtails. She was smiling and holding a toy spaceship. Her name was Emma Chen. She lived on Haven Station with her mother, Dr. Sarah Chen. Emma was Catherine's goddaughter. Catherine set down the photo very carefully. Her hands did not shake. She walked to her desk and opened a secure channel to Earth Command. "Admiral Zhao requesting Protocol Olympus authorization," she said. The face on the screen went pale. Protocol Olympus meant full military authority. No political oversight. No waiting for orders. The fleet could act on its own. "Admiral, that protocol is only for extreme situations," the officer said. 50,000 civilians were murdered, Catherine said. Each word was like a hammer hitting metal. They killed children in schools. They killed patients in hospitals. They broadcast it to scare us. "Is that extreme enough?" There was a long pause. Then the officer nodded. "Authorization granted." "God help them, Admiral." "God won't help them," Catherine said. "That's why they have me." She cut the connection and walked onto the bridge. Every officer stood straighter when they saw her face. They had served with Iron Kate for years. They had seen her angry before. This was different. This was something cold and final. "All ships report ready," her first officer, Commander James Park, said. Catherine looked at the tactical display. 7 ships. The Unbroken was the biggest, a dreadnought with enough firepower to crack a moon. 2 heavy cruisers, the Vigilant and the Defiant. 3 destroyers fast and deadly. 1 support carrier, the Mercy, full of Marines and medical teams. "Remove all engine limiters," Catherine ordered. "I want maximum speed." "Ma'am, running engines that hot for 7 days could damage them permanently," the chief engineer protested. "I don't care," Catherine said flatly. "We're not racing to win a prize. We're racing to deliver justice. Remove the limiters." Down in engineering, Lieutenant Commander Sarah Okonkwo watched her screens with worry. Removing the limiters would push the reactors beyond safe levels. But she understood. She had watched the Haven Station footage too. She had cried for an hour. "You heard the Admiral," Sarah told her team. "Remove the limiters and say a prayer for Haven Station." In the Marine barracks, Commander James Okafor briefed his soldiers. James was a big man, 2 meters tall and built like a tree. He had gentle eyes and a soft voice. He coached children's soccer when he was on leave. Marines called him Big Papa because he took care of them. Today, Big Papa's voice was not soft. "We have 4 days to prepare," James said. "When we arrive, there will be no time to think. You will see terrible things. Dead children. Dead families. You will want to freeze. You will want to cry. You cannot. We have a job. We find any survivors. We punish those responsible. Are we clear?" "Sir, yes, sir," 400 Marines shouted. James dismissed them and went to the armory. He pulled out weapons that were still experimental. Plasma rifles that burned hot enough to melt steel. Explosive rounds that could punch through tank armor. Boarding charges that could cut through ship hulls. "Load it all," he ordered. "Everything we have." Lieutenant Maya Singh sat in her fighter cockpit running system checks. Maya was 26 years old and the best pilot in the fleet. She flew a Raptor-class fighter, small and fast. She had painted a tiger on the nose. Maya wrote a message on her datapad. "Dear Mom and Dad, if you're reading this, I didn't make it back. I want you to know I love you. I want you to know why I didn't come home. Some people killed 50,000 innocents. Someone had to stop them. I'm proud it was us. Love always, Maya." She sealed the message and set it to send if she died. Then she powered up her fighter and checked her weapons. 8 missiles. 2 railguns. 1 reactor that could overload and explode if needed. Enough. The fleet pushed through space faster than it was designed to go. The engines screamed. The hulls vibrated. But they held together. Catherine spent the 4 days preparing. She studied everything about the Krithak. Their ships. Their tactics. Their culture. They were predators who built an empire by attacking weak targets. They enslaved those who surrendered. They killed those who resisted. "They think we're weak," Catherine said to Commander Park. "They think we'll negotiate or run away." "What will we do, Admiral?" Park asked. "We'll show them what happens when you mistake mercy for weakness," Catherine said. "We'll show them that humans are gentle until you give us a reason not to be." She called a fleet-wide meeting. Every screen on every ship showed her face. "I know you've all seen the Haven Station footage," Catherine began. "I know some of you have family there. I know some of you are angry. Some of you are scared. Some of you think what we're about to do is wrong." She paused. "The Krithak have more ships than us. They have more soldiers. By every tactical calculation, we should wait for reinforcements. But I have done the calculations. Every day we wait, the Krithak get stronger. They fortify. They prepare. They scatter. We are not waiting," Catherine continued. Her voice got harder. "In 4 days we will arrive at Haven Station. We will not send hails. We will not negotiate. We will not offer surrender terms. We will open fire immediately. We will destroy every Krithak warship in that system. Then we will find every Krithak soldier who set foot on Haven Station. And we will end them." Some officers looked uncomfortable. This was not how the Earth Defense Force usually operated. They were peacekeepers. They protected trade routes. They rescued people. "I know this troubles some of you," Catherine said more softly. "I know we are supposed to be better than this." But they didn't attack a military target. They attacked families. They attacked children. They recorded it and sent it across the galaxy to frighten others. "If we show mercy now, we tell every predator out there that humans can be killed without consequence." Her voice went cold again. "So we will not show mercy. We will show them the cost of targeting the helpless. We will make them regret ever hearing the word human. And maybe, just maybe, the next time someone thinks about killing civilians, they will remember what happened when they killed ours." The fleet was silent. Then someone started clapping. Then another. Then the entire fleet erupted in cheers. Catherine allowed herself a small smile. "All hands prepare for combat operations. We arrive in 4 days. Make them count." The 4 days passed like years. The crew trained constantly. They ate protein paste and caffeine pills. They slept in shifts. They sharpened their weapons and said their prayers. On the final day, Catherine stood on the bridge. The tactical display showed they were 2 hours from Haven Station. "All ships combat formation," she ordered. "Weapons hot. Shields maximum. Enemy contact in 120 minutes. She sat in her command chair and thought about Emma with her toy spaceship. She thought about all the other children. All the families. All the people who came to Haven Station looking for safety and found death instead. "For Haven Station," Catherine whispered. Around her, the crew echoed. "For Haven Station." The Unbroken and its fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Haven system. Sensors immediately lit up with enemy contacts. 30 Krithak warships surrounded the broken remains of Haven Station. Catherine smiled. It was not a nice smile. "All ships," she said calmly. "Weapons free. Kill them all." The Earth Defense Fleet accelerated toward the enemy. They did not slow down. They did not turn aside. They came like a hammer falling. War leader Zrathok was enjoying his victory. His soldiers had stripped Haven Station of everything valuable. They took computers and medical equipment. They took food and water. They even took the metal from the walls. Some humans still lived. About 200. Zrathok kept them alive as slaves. They would sell for good prices. Humans were weak, but they could work. War leader, His sensor officer called. Ships approaching. 7 vessels, Zrathok laughed. Only 7? What fools come to challenge us? They are human ships, war leader. Zrathok laughed harder. He had 30 warships. The humans had 7. Finally, the humans send their military. Too late to save their people, just in time to die with them. He opened a channel to his fleet. Destroy them quickly. Show them the same mercy they showed. Wait. Why are they not hailing us? Human ships always talked first. They sent messages. They tried to negotiate. That was why they were weak. These ships did not talk. They just came closer. Fast. War leader, they are accelerating, the sensor officer said nervously. They are not slowing down. Battle positions, Zrathok ordered. This was strange, but it did not matter. 30 ships against 7. The humans would die. The human fleet spread out into a formation Zrathok had never seen. The big dreadnought in front. The other ships around it like claws. Then the humans opened fire. The first railgun slug moved so fast the Krythak sensors barely saw it. It hit a Krythak cruiser's shields and went right through. The metal slug, moving at a fraction of light speed, punched through the ship from front to back. The cruiser exploded. What? Zrathok shouted. How? More slugs came. Dozens of them. They tore through Krythak's shields like they were made of paper. Ships exploded. Hulls broke apart. Soldiers died by the thousands. Return fire. Zrathok screamed. The Krythak fleet fired back. Their plasma weapons were powerful. They hit the human shields hard. A human destroyer's shields failed. Plasma melted through its hull. The destroyer exploded in a ball of fire. 300 humans died. The other human ships did not slow down. They did not retreat. They accelerated harder. They're insane, a Krythak officer whispered. The human dreadnought, the Unbroken, crashed into the Krythak formation like a battering ram. Its forward guns fired continuously. Its railguns punched holes through ship after ship. Its missile batteries launched hundreds of warheads, but the Unbroken was also taking damage. Plasma burns scored its hull. Missiles exploded against its shields. The ship was covered in fire and smoke. It kept coming. All ships into them. Admiral Zhao's voice came over the Krythak's communication channels. The humans were broadcasting on all frequencies. Knife fighting range. Make them feel it. The human cruiser Vigilant rammed a Krythak destroyer. Both ships were damaged badly, but the Vigilant's Marines immediately started boarding. They cut through the hull with plasma torches and poured inside. On the Krythak ship, soldiers rushed to stop the humans. They thought humans would be easy to kill in close combat. Humans were small and soft. Commander James Okafor was the first through the breach. He was 2 meters of pure rage. His plasma rifle burned at temperatures hot enough to melt ship armor. When a Krythak soldier shot him in the shoulder, James did not fall. He walked forward and shoved his rifle into the Krythak's chest. The alien screamed once before it died. "For Haven Station," James roared. His Marines poured through behind him screaming the same words. The Krythak soldiers had never fought anyone like this. Usually other species tried to capture ships intact. They tried to minimize casualties. They followed rules. The human Marines followed no rules. They used explosives in the ship's corridors. They overloaded reactors. They shot Krythak soldiers who tried to surrender. "We don't take prisoners today," James said coldly when a Krythak dropped its weapon. "You didn't take prisoners at Haven Station." He shot it. The Marines moved through the ship like a storm of fire and death. Within 20 minutes, every Krythak on board was dead. The ship was barely functional, but the humans did not care. They set it to self-destruct and evacuated. The Krythak destroyer exploded, taking a nearby Krythak cruiser with it. In space, Maya Singh's fighter squadron danced between the larger ships. They were too small for the Krythak's main guns to track. They flew in close and fired missiles at weak points. Engine sections, reactor chambers, bridge windows, Raptor 3. "Paint that carrier's engines," Maya ordered. "I'm going in." "Maya, that's suicide," her wingman protested. "Then don't follow me," Maya said. She pushed her fighter to maximum speed and dove toward the Krythak carrier. The carrier was huge, 10 times bigger than the human dreadnought. It launched smaller attack craft to stop Maya. She shot down 3. 4 more chased her. Maya flew straight at the carrier's massive engine exhausts. Heat warnings screamed in her cockpit. Her fighter's hull started to glow red. Come on," Maya whispered. She waited until the last possible second. Then she fired all 8 of her missiles at once and pulled up as hard as she could. The missiles flew into the carrier's engines and exploded. The engines were already running hot. The explosions caused a chain reaction. The carrier's reactor went critical. The explosion was so bright it lit up the entire battlefield. Maya's fighter was thrown forward by the blast. She lost consciousness for a moment. When she woke, her fighter was tumbling, and half her systems were dead. But she was alive. "Raptor leader to all units," she said weakly. "Scratch one carrier." On the Unbroken's bridge, Admiral Zhao watched the tactical display. They had destroyed 12 Krithak ships, but the humans had lost 2 destroyers and the Vigilant was crippled. The remaining 5 human ships were all damaged. Some badly, and they still had 18 Krithak ships to fight. "Admiral, the Krithak are forming a retreat formation," Commander Park reported. "Do not let them leave," Zhao ordered. "Pursuit formation. Run them down." "Ma'am, we should consolidate," Park said carefully. "We've hurt them badly. We can wait for reinforcements." "No," Zhao said. "If even one of these ships escapes, they report back what happened. Their empire sends 100 ships next time. We end this now." The human ships, damaged and burning, chased after the Krithak fleet. Then the sensors detected something new. 20 more ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel. Fresh Krithak reinforcements from a nearby sector. 38 ships total now, Admiral, Park said quietly. "We have 5 ships barely holding together." The bridge went silent. The odds were impossible now. Zhao stood up from her command chair. She walked to the front of the bridge and looked out at the stars and the burning ships and the enemy fleet. "Send this to all ships," she said, "and broadcast it to the Krithak too. I want them to hear this." She waited until every screen in the fleet showed her face. The Krithak were listening too, trying to understand these insane humans. "I am Admiral Catherine Zhao of the Earth Defense Force," she said. Her voice was calm, almost gentle. 7 days ago, you murdered 50,000 civilians at Haven Station. You killed children. You killed the sick and wounded. You killed people who came to us for protection. You recorded it and sent it across the galaxy to frighten others." She paused. "You wanted to show the galaxy what happens to the helpless. Today we show you what happens when you make humans remember they're dead." Her voice went cold as ice. "You are 38 warships. We are 5. You think you have already won? You are wrong. We are not here to win. We are here to make you pay. Every ship you have will burn. Every soldier who set foot on Haven Station will die. If we die doing it, then we die. But so do you," she smiled. It was terrifying. "All ships weapons free. For Haven Station. For humanity. For every person you killed. No mercy, no quarter. No surrender accepted." The human fleet, battered and damaged, accelerated toward the Krithak again. War leader Zrathok stared at his screen. He had fought many battles. He had killed many enemies. But he had never seen anything like this. The humans were not fighting to win. They were fighting to kill, even if it meant dying themselves. For the first time in his long military career, Zrathok felt something he had never felt before. Fear. "All ships," he said shakily. "Destroy them. Destroy them now." The 2 fleets collided in a storm of fire and death. The human cruiser Defiant was dying. Plasma had melted through half its hull. The reactor was failing. Life support was gone in most sections. Captain Rachel Kim knew her ship had minutes left. "All hands abandon ship," she ordered. "Get to the escape pods." Her crew rushed to evacuate. But Rachel stayed on the bridge with her pilot and weapons officer. They were all volunteers. They all knew what came next. "Captain, 3 Krithak destroyers moving to finish us," the weapons officer said. Rachel smiled. "Good. Let them come closer." The Krithak ships approached carefully. The Defiant was not moving. It was clearly crippled. "Easy prey. Now," Rachel said quietly. The Defiant's pilot fired the emergency thrusters. The ship lurched forward directly at the nearest Krithak destroyer. At the same moment, the weapons officer activated the reactor overload. The Krithak tried to turn away. Too late. The Defiant crashed into the destroyer and both ships exploded in a nuclear fireball. The explosion was so massive it caught the other 2 destroyers and crippled them. The Unbroken's railguns finished them off seconds later. Admiral Zhao closed her eyes briefly. "Rest well, Defiant. We'll finish this." The battle had been raging for 3 hours. The impossible was happening. Against all odds, the humans were winning. Not because they had better ships. Not because they had superior tactics. They were winning because they fought with a fury the Krithak had never seen. Every human ship fought like it had nothing to lose. Because it didn't. The human destroyer Relentless had lost all its main weapons. Instead of retreating, it rammed 2 Krythak frigates. The destroyer's captain survived, and his marines boarded one of the damaged frigates, killed every Krythak aboard, and used the frigate's weapons to keep fighting. Maya Singh's fighter squadron had lost half its pilots. The survivors fought on with damaged ships and dwindling ammunition. When Maya ran out of missiles, she used her railguns. When those overheated, she used her fighter's mass as a weapon, ramming Krythak attack craft and ejecting at the last second. On the 4th ramming attack, Maya's ejection seat failed. Her fighter smashed into a Krythak bomber. Both craft exploded. "No!" her wingman screamed. But 30 seconds later, Maya's voice came over the radio, breathless and laughing. "Raptor leader to Raptor squadron. I'm alive, sort of, floating in space. Someone pick me up when this is over." She had ejected manually, blowing the canopy with explosive bolts and jumping free just before impact. She was floating in her spacesuit in the middle of a massive space battle, but she was alive. "You're insane, Maya," her wingman said. "I know," Maya replied. "It's working, though." Commander James Okafor and his Marines had boarded 3 Krythak ships. They found evidence on all 3. Video records, logs, lists of loot taken from Haven Station. On the 3rd ship, they found something worse, cages. Human prisoners from Haven Station, still alive but barely. The Krythak had been torturing them for entertainment. James found a little girl, maybe 6 years old, locked in a cage. She was crying silently. She had seen things no child should see. "Hey, sweetheart," James said gently, kneeling down. He opened the cage carefully. "I'm James. I'm here to help. You're safe now." The girl looked at him with huge eyes. "Are the monsters gone?" "Yes," James lied. "Some Krythak were still alive on the ship. The monsters are gone. I promise." He picked up the girl carefully and called for a medic. Then he turned to his Marines. His gentle face was gone. In its place was something carved from stone. "Find every Krythak on this ship," he said quietly. "Show them what monsters really look like." The Marines moved through the ship systematically. They did not hurry. They were thorough. By the time they finished, the ship was silent except for the sound of their boots. They found 15 more prisoners total. All human, all from Haven Station, all barely alive. The medics worked frantically to stabilize them. "Transport them to the Mercy," James ordered, "and set this ship to self-destruct. I want nothing left of it." The battle continued. The Krythak were panicking now. They had never fought an enemy like this. Usually battles in space were calculated things. Ships maneuvered for position. They wore down each other's shields. They attempted to disable rather than destroy. There were rules. The humans ignored all rules. When the human support carrier Mercy lost its weapons, it started using its mass to shield smaller ships. When its shields failed, it kept going. The ship's doctor, Commander Sarah Martinez, continued performing surgery on wounded Marines even as plasma fire burned through the decks above her. "Ma'am, we need to evacuate," a nurse said. "I'm not leaving patients," Sarah said, not looking up from the soldier on her operating table. "If the ship goes down, we go down together." The Mercy held together through sheer determination and good engineering. It survived. On the Unbroken, Admiral Zhao coordinated the chaos. She was wounded, a piece of shrapnel in her side from when a console exploded. She refused to leave the bridge for treatment. "Admiral, you need medical attention," Commander Park insisted. "Later," Zhao said. She pulled up the tactical display. 38 Krythak ships had come to this battle. 19 were destroyed. 8 more were crippled and drifting. 11 were still fighting, but 4 of those were damaged. The human fleet was down to 4 ships. The Unbroken was barely functional. The Mercy was a floating hospital barely holding together. The captured Krythak frigate, renamed the Vengeance, was operated by a skeleton crew, and one destroyer, the Relentless, still fought on, but they were winning. "The Krythak are breaking formation," Park reported. "They're trying to retreat. All ships pursuit," Zhao ordered. "Do not let them reach faster than light speed." The Unbroken lurched forward. Its engines screamed in protest. The chief engineer reported that the reactor would fail within the hour. Zhao did not care. The human ships chased the fleeing Krythak like wolves after prey. It was not a battle anymore. It was a hunt. War leader's Rathok's flagship was one of the fleeing ships. He had lost everything. His fleet was destroyed. His reputation was ruined. These insane humans had somehow defeated a force 8 times their size. "Faster," he screamed at his pilot. Get us out of here. We need 30 more seconds to charge the FTL drive, the pilot said, terrified. The Unbroken's railguns fired one last time. The slugs hit Zrathok's ship in the engines. The ship lurched and lost power. The FTL drive failed to charge. No, Zrathok whispered. The Unbroken came alongside his ship. He expected them to demand surrender. Instead, they opened fire at point-blank range. The shots were precise. They hit the bridge. Zrathok died, still wondering how he had lost. By the end of the 5th hour, it was over. Every Krithak ship was destroyed or captured. Not one escaped. The human fleet floated in the debris field, victorious. But the cost had been terrible. 3 ships destroyed. Every surviving ship damaged. 4,000 human soldiers and crew dead. Get me a channel to Earth, Zhao said. She was very tired now. The adrenaline was fading. The pain from her wound was getting worse. Admiral, Earth Command is calling you, Park said. They want a status report. Zhao straightened in her chair. Earth Command, this is Admiral Zhao. The 3rd Battle Group has engaged and destroyed Krithak forces at Haven Station. Enemy fleet eliminated. We have secured the system. There was a long pause on the other end. Admiral, sensors show you fought 38 ships with 5. How is that possible? They made us angry, Zhao said simply. That was their mistake. She cut the connection and looked at her crew. They were exhausted, wounded, covered in blood and ash, but they were standing. Take us to Haven Station, she ordered quietly. Let's bring our people home. The Unbroken limped toward the broken station. Marines boarded carefully, searching for survivors. They found 68 people still alive. 68 out of 50,000. Commander Okafor carried out a woman who had been hiding in a storage container for 7 days. She was crying. It's over, he told her gently. You're safe now. The monsters are gone. All across the fleet, humans wept. They wept for the dead. They wept for the survivors who would never be the same. They wept because they had won, but the victory tasted like ash. Admiral Zhao stood in front of the ruined station and saluted. Rest easy, she whispered. We remembered you. We avenged you. Behind her, the fleet's lights dimmed in memorial. 50,000 lights for 50,000 dead. The message of what happened spread across the galaxy faster than light. The Krithak Dominion, one of the most feared empires in known space, had been destroyed by 5 human ships. The recordings showed everything. The humans' impossible fury, their refusal to surrender, their willingness to die to make their enemies pay. On 100 worlds, predatory species watched the footage. They looked at their own plans for expansion. They looked at the star maps showing human space. And quietly, they changed their plans. Humanity had taught the galaxy a lesson. The helpless were under protection, and the protectors did not forget. 6 months had passed since the Battle of Haven Station. The galaxy was a different place now. The new Haven Station floated in the same orbit as the old one. It was bigger and stronger. Its walls were made of the best alloy. Its shields could stop a fleet. But the most important part was the memorial at its center. A wall of black stone stretched 30 meters high. On it, carved in letters of gold, were 50,000 names. Every person who died when the Krithak attacked. Every child. Every parent. Every dreamer who came here looking for safety. At the bottom of the wall, these words were carved. They came for sanctuary. They found death. We gave them justice. Never again. A permanent Earth Defense Force base orbited nearby. 3 warships were always on station. The galaxy knew that Haven Station was protected now. Attack it and the full might of humanity would respond. Today was the anniversary. People came from across human space to remember. They laid flowers at the wall. They touched the names of loved ones. They cried together. 3 children stood in front of one name. Marcus Webb, the man who hid them in cargo containers. The man who saved their lives by giving his own. The oldest child was a girl named Anna. She was 9 now. She placed a flower at the name and whispered, "Thank you." Standing behind the children was Commander James Okafor. He wore civilian clothes today, not his uniform. Anna held his hand. James had adopted her after the battle. She was his daughter now. "Papa," Anna said quietly, "do you think Mr. Webb would be proud of the new station?" James knelt down beside her. His eyes were wet. "I think he would be very proud." He wanted people to be safe. Now they are. They stood in silence for a while. Around them, thousands of others did the same. Far away on Earth, Admiral Catherine Zhao sat in a government building. She was not admiral anymore. She had retired from active military service, but she was now the Earth Secretary of Defense. The people demanded it. The government agreed. Today she faced a military tribunal. Officially, she was being investigated for exceeding authorized force during the Haven Station campaign. She had ignored standard protocols. She had refused to negotiate. She had pursued and destroyed a fleeing enemy. The tribunal room was packed with observers. News cameras recorded everything. People across Earth and all the colonies watched. Admiral Zhao, the lead judge said, "You are accused of conducting military operations beyond the scope of Protocol Olympus. How do you plead?" Catherine stood straight. She wore her dress uniform. Her medals covered her chest. "I plead guilty to everything. I did exactly what I am accused of." "I would do it again." The room stirred. This was not the usual answer. "You understand this tribunal could result in imprisonment?" the judge asked. "I understand," Catherine said calmly. "I also understand that 50,000 civilians were murdered. I understand that someone had to respond. I did what was necessary." The judge looked at his papers. "The prosecution argues that your actions were excessive, that you could have disabled Krethak ships rather than destroying them, that you could have accepted surrenders." "The prosecution did not watch children die on Haven Station," Catherine said. Her voice was quiet but filled the room. They did not see families killed for entertainment. They did not see the recordings the Krethak broadcast as a warning to scare others. "I did, my officers did. We made a choice. We chose to send a different message, and what message was that?" the judge asked. "That there are consequences for attacking the helpless," Catherine said. "That humanity protects its own. That we will cross any distance and pay any price to make sure the guilty face justice." She paused. "If that makes me a war criminal, then so be it. But I sleep well at night." "Can the Krethak who ordered the attack say the same?" "No, because they are dead. I made sure of it." The room erupted in applause. People cheered. The judge had to call for order repeatedly. The tribunal deliberated for 3 hours. When they returned, the lead judge looked tired. "Admiral Zhao, this tribunal finds that while your methods were unconventional, they were within the spirit of Protocol Olympus. You are cleared of all charges. This case is dismissed." More cheers. Catherine allowed herself a small smile. Outside the building, reporters swarmed her. "Admiral Zhao, what will you do now?" "My job," Catherine said simply. "Make sure Haven Station never happens again. Make sure humanity is ready to protect those who cannot protect themselves." She walked away, ignoring more questions. In space, the ripples of the Battle of Haven Station spread wider. The Krethak Dominion had collapsed. Without their fleet, the enslaved species they controlled rebelled. 23 worlds declared independence. The Krethak were now a minor power, fearful and weak. 7 other predatory empires that had been planning raids on human space quietly canceled their plans. The intelligence reports were clear. Humans might seem peaceful, but they had a switch. Once flipped, they became something terrifying. The Galactic Council called an emergency session. They wanted to discuss the human problem. They destroyed an entire fleet, the Thelonian representative said nervously. Thelonians were a peaceful species who traded in art and philosophy. Their response was disproportionate. "The Krethak killed 50,000 civilians," the human representative replied. Ambassador Chen was Sarah Chen's sister. She had lost family at Haven Station. "Was that proportionate?" "We understand your anger," the council leader said carefully. "He was a Valdari, a species that valued law and order, but your actions have destabilized the sector. The Krethak Empire is in chaos." "Good," Ambassador Chen said flatly. "They built that empire on slavery and murder. Let it burn." "We would like to invite humanity to join the Galactic Council," the council leader said. "As a peacekeeping force, your military has proven quite effective." Ambassador Chen smiled. It reminded people of Admiral Zhao's smile in the battle recordings. "Not comforting. We will join. But on our terms." "What terms?" the Valdari asked nervously. "We will protect the helpless," Chen said. "Any species that targets civilians, we will respond. Immediately and without mercy. Any empire built on slavery or conquest, we will dismantle. You want human warships to keep the peace? Fine. But we keep the peace our way." The council chamber was silent. "You are asking for unprecedented authority," the Thelonian representative said. We are not asking, Chen replied. We are telling you how this will work. You wanted humanity involved in galactic affairs. Now you have us. But understand this. We watched Haven Station die while the galaxy did nothing. We will not stand by and watch again. After long debate, the Council agreed. The Haven Accords were established. Any attack on civilians would result in human military response. Any empire practicing slavery would face sanctions and possible intervention. The galaxy had a new sheriff, and the sheriff did not negotiate with predators. Lieutenant Maya Singh stood in front of a classroom of new pilot cadets. She had survived the Battle of Haven Station. Though her ejection into space during combat had become legendary, she walked with a slight limp now from her injuries, but she could still fly. Today we talk about aggressive tactics, Maya said to her students. They looked very young, eager. Standard doctrine says to maintain safe distances, to preserve your ship, to retreat if odds are bad. She pulled up a recording. The Battle of Haven Station played on the screens. This is not standard doctrine, Maya said quietly. This is what we do when there is no choice. When civilians are dead and someone has to make the enemy pay, watch carefully. The students watched in silence as 5 human ships fought 38 Krithak vessels. They watched the Defiant's final ram. They watched fighters flying suicide runs. They watched the impossible victory. When it ended, one student raised his hand. Commander Singh, that was insane. We should have lost. You are correct, Maya agreed. We should have lost. We did not because we refused to lose. Because we had something the Krithak did not. We had a reason. We had people to avenge. We had a message to send. She looked at each student. I hope you never have to fight a battle like Haven Station. I hope you never see what we saw. But if you do, remember this. Humanity is not the strongest species. We are not the most advanced. But we are the species that remembers. We mourn our dead by ensuring their deaths meant something. And in a universe often ruled by predators, that makes us the thing predators fear most. The classroom was silent. Dismissed, Maya said softly. Fly safe out there. On a distant world, a new predatory empire was rising. The Vorath Collective had conquered 12 systems through brutal force. Their war leaders planned their next expansion. A mining colony in human space, small, defenseless, easy prey. The colony has good resources, the Vorath intelligence officer reported. Minimal defenses. We can take it in one day. The Vorath War Master studied the tactical display. What species inhabits this colony? Humans, War Master. About 5,000 of them. The room went quiet. Another Vorath officer pulled up files on his computer. War Master, I recommend we review these files before proceeding. The War Master watched the Battle of Haven Station recording. All of it, the massacre. The human response, the impossible victory, the complete destruction of the Krithak fleet. At the end, Admiral Zhao's final transmission played. Her words echoed in the Vorath Command Center. You wanted to show the galaxy what happens to the helpless. Today we show you what happens when you make humans remember they're dead. The War Master was silent for a long time. Then he stood and walked to the star map. He looked at the human territories. At the new Haven Station with its permanent fleet. At Earth with its growing military. Change course, he ordered. We will expand in a different direction. But War Master, the colony is defenseless, the intelligence officer protested. No, the War Master said quietly. It is not defenseless. It is human. That means it is protected by the species that fought 38 warships with 5 and 1. By the species that crosses any distance to avenge their dead. By the species that does not forget. He looked at his officers. Touch the helpless and they will find you. They will reach you. And they will end you. I saw what they did to the Krithak. I will not let them do it to us. The Vorath fleet changed course. The mining colony never knew how close it came to attack. Never knew it was saved by the memory of 50,000 dead humans and 5 ships that refused to lose. On Haven Station, the sun was setting. The memorial wall glowed in the fading light. The golden names shimmered. Around it, people stood in silence, remembering, mourning, promising. Commander James Okafor stood with his daughter Anna. She was doing better now. Still had nightmares sometimes, still cried when she remembered. But she was healing. She laughed again. She played with other children. She was going to be okay. Papa, Anna asked, why do we come here every year? James thought about his answer carefully. Because they were people like us. They deserve to live. They deserve to be safe. We could not save them. But we can remember them. We can make sure the galaxy knows what happened. We can make sure it never happens again. Did we succeed? Anna asked. Is the galaxy safer now? James looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Vorath had changed course. Other empires watched and waited. The galaxy was learning to fear what happened when humanity was pushed too far. Yes, James said quietly. I think they understand now. Humanity is gentle. We want peace. We want to help others. But if you hurt the helpless, if you target the innocent, we become something else. We become the thing that hunts you across the stars. We become judgment. Anna nodded. She placed another flower at the memorial wall. Thank you, Mr. Webb, she whispered. Thank you for saving me. I promise I will make you proud. They stood together as darkness fell. The memorial lights came on. 50,000 lights for 50,000 names. A beacon in the darkness. A warning to predators. A promise to the helpless. The galaxy had learned. Some lessons are written in words. Others are written in fire and blood and broken warships. The lesson of Haven Station was written in both. Touch the helpless. Face humanity. There would be no mercy. There would be no forgetting. There would only be justice delivered across any distance at any cost by people who refused to let the innocent die unavenged. The galaxy watched the lights of Haven Station and understood. They remembered.